Welcome back to MNUFC TV. I am going to get into the player ratings. So we won 3-1 in Portland and we're the first team ever to win in Portland on opening night. So that was a big accomplishment to start off the season. Not saying we're shooting at low accomplishments, but it's a good first step. Um, Being a really good team right off the bat after they just acquired a really good striker um, who was a handful all night for Ike. But this team sheet, Miller started in net, and I thought he did well. He did good. Really isn't his fault to blame for the goal. It's Ike giving up the penalty, I believe. Does get wrong footed and goes the wrong way. It happens. It's tough to save a pen. He made a couple good saves. Came out of the box when needed. I think I'm going to give him a solid 7 tonight. Does get conceded, but I think he just solid 7 tonight. No more, no less. Montier started at right back, and he played really well. Picked up a yellow card somewhat early, and he needed to stop a fast break. And then he played very well the rest of the night. Tiptoed that line and played extremely well. Being an outlet on the right wing, he didn't get as many crosses as he did last year. Kind of played to a new style of playing with Amarilla, playing in behind. Not so much cross happy, but when necessary, definitely we still did cross it a lot when we needed. But it was more on Gasper's side, I thought, tonight. Montier still bombed forward and got a couple crosses in, but I'd say a solid 7 tonight from Montier. He does pick up the yellow card, but I thought he played really well. But I'm just going to give him a 7 because of that yellow card. Happens, but I think just getting that, I have to give the rating down. Opara, I have to give him 6 tonight. I'm going to be a little generous to our boy, but he gives up the penalty. But other than that, he did very well against a very good forward in Mora, who's new to the league, but looks like he's going to be a menace. Caused a lot of problems for Ike and Boxall, but Boxall and Ike, they did a good job, I thought, tonight. Ike does, like I said, get the 6 for conceding the penalty. Boxall, I'm going to say a 7, just a 7, yeah, 7. He was solid tonight. No yellow, played really well. Yeah, I thought he played really well. 7. Gasper, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I thought he played well, but gave the ball away a lot in possession in certain parts. We didn't play so good in the first 20 minutes, and then we kind of grew into the game. First game jitters a little bit, but Gasper gave the ball away quite a bit. I don't know if it's because I don't know, it just wasn't clicking sometimes, but he still played well. But I'm just gonna have to give him a 6.5. He needs to be a little bit more less wasteful in possession. Ozzy, oh, he's turning back the clock, baby. He's looking good. He's maybe lost a step or two, but man, he looks ready to go and picked up a yellow card early and walked that line and dictated everything. The master of the dark arts that Ozzy Alonso is. Gonna have to give him a. I'm gonna give him a 7.5. Even though he picks up the yellow, but I mean that's what his job is there to do. Though he's that kind of player that sometimes it was a bad challenge, so I would maybe give him a little bit higher score, but a 7. Yeah, 7, and I think 7. Seven's fine because he had a high challenge that was kind of could have been a red card. I think it would have been a harsh red card, but I think it could have been. You've seen some of these MLS referees like tonight. We got the short end of the stick completely. A lot of bad calls were going their way, but they rightfully did get some calls. Like the penalty was definitely a penalty. Um, I thought Greg Goose played really good. He had a really good game, I thought, dictating the play in the middle, progressing the ball as well as um, stopping play, just being that big, tall dude in the midfield that him and Ozzy work well together. He just played well, and I think I'm gonna give him a 7.5. Finley was outstanding tonight. I'm the toss up between Finley and Molino for man of the match. I think I'm gonna have to go with. I think I might have to give it to both of them. I thought Finley. I'm gonna give it to Finley for man of the match, but Molino for team of the week. Because I voted for Molino for team of the week on MLS because Finley wasn't an option on Twitter. But I'm going to give Finley my man of the match because he puts the first ball to Amarilla on a platter, and he was a menace all on that right side. And the second ball was very cheeky to get it to Molino after drawing two defenders. It was a very good ball for 2 assists. And Finley gets a 9 today for me. Very minimal things that he could get better on. Today he played great. A couple times he gave away possession, but he had a nutmeg. He was a menace on that night on that right side. A couple times he should have been maybe at that back post for a tap in, but when we went 3-1, there's not too many things you can pick out and say as bad performance because Finley played great, so he's gonna get a 9, and Molino Finley a 9.5, and Molino is going to get a 9 with those 2 goals. Played great, I thought, for the time he was on, and I thought Lod played good. He looks like he might turn out to be a decent, good player. He's got to start finding the back of the net and maybe getting in some assists, but he popped up with some chances. It looks like a real hard-working, possession-based midfielder. Looks like he'll just fit in. I don't want to judge him from last season too much because he was coming in off a holiday, off of his off season. So I think a preseason under his belt, a little bit of time, then we can judge him, and then at that point we can make a decision: was he worth it? Was he not? But I think we should at least give him this year to prove himself, at least not get on him too hard. So I think he was good. I'm going to give him a 7.5 tonight. And Amarilla with the goal, and I thought he was lively, very good. He was like the whole team was lost for the first 20 minutes about. But Amarilla, I'm going to give an 8 tonight, and I thought he played very well. As for the subs, Hassani Dotson came in the 81st minute and for Molino, kind of shore up the midfield. We're up 3-1. Can't really give too much of a score. I mean, 7. Putting a little shift in for 15 minutes or whatever. Schofield came in the 87th for Amarilla, and I like how big he is. It was nice to kind of just see how big and tall he is on the field and how defensively he can work and kind of close down a game to help with set pieces, everything when we're closing down a game. So I really like that option. I'm going to give him a 7 as well, just for how little he was on. He kind of worked pretty hard for that short amount of time that he was on. And we'll just get into the players that weren't sub, kind of just talk about them for a second, since we're going to start seeing some new faces. If you go check out the roster online, can kind of look at the new faces and stuff, as Cracone wasn't on the bench and a couple other rookies weren't on the bench. Cracone we got last year, but it was weird only having one DP on the pitch. We have one open spot, and Cracone wasn't even in the team sheet, so a bit strange. But Raheem Edwards, we got him in the trade from Chicago. I think he'll be a good addition to play multiple positions in the midfield. Marlon Harrison, we got for trading Darwin's rights in the offseason. I think he'll be a solid backup. I think we have a lot better depth than we did last year. I think our quality has gone up in depth, at least from what I've seen in preseason. I love McGill, but he struggled today. I heard against Seattle. I didn't watch, so this is just from what I'm hearing. Not for Seattle. But I really wish nothing but the best of them. But I feel like we've improved on those type of players from what I've seen, at least so far. Even though some of these players haven't played in a full game, a little bit of the preseason and buzz around some of the writers and whatnot. Jose Aya, a backup center back who's going to be kind of the backup center back while Coleman's definitely on his suspension for the first part of the season. Kind of played in Chile last year, played for Vancouver for a year before that, and for Heath in Orlando the year before that, I believe, or maybe the 2 years before that. But played in Orlando at least, maybe not under Heath, but so kind of used to have experience in the MLS. Maybe not a good starter, but I feel like a good quality backup for when some of these internationals come up. When Lod has to go out for international duty, and some of these other players maybe. Also, Mason Toy was on the bench who didn't get subbed on. We know plenty of Mason, just another player that was on the bench, and Dwayne St. Clair was the other player that was on the bench. But we know those faces. But we're going to start seeing some more, like Noah Billingsley, one of our first round draft pick, the Aussie we drafted. So we'll be seeing some of those guys around in the coming months and stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and as always, come on, you Loons.